On this episode of Time About the Movies, we're beginning the fall movie season, and one of the more high-profile releases of the fall finally comes to us with David Fincher's latest film, The Social Network, about the story of how Facebook came to be. We also have two other movies with some prestigious names in front of them. One of them is Case 39, and the other is Let Me In, the remake of Let the Right One In, directed by the same man that gave us Cloverfield 2 years ago. So we're kicking off October 2010 today on Time About the Movies. And welcome to Time About the Movies. As we begin the month of October and essentially the fall movie season, we're taking a look at the three films released on October 1st, 2010. And of course, the biggest new release of the weekend is, of course, The Social Network. On a fall night in 2003, Harvard undergrad and computer programming expert Mark Zuckerberg, played by Jesse Eisenberg, sits down at his computer and begins working on a new idea. In a fury of blogging and programming, what begins in his dorm room soon becomes a global social network and a revolution in communication. A mere 6 years and 500 million friends later, Mark Zuckerberg is the youngest billionaire in history, but for this entrepreneur, success leads to both personal and legal complications. And there's no really need to sugarcoat it. This movie's freaking incredible. I've talked about the sequel they're doing now on Reviewing Network Live, and yeah, I don't think it's a necessary sequel, but I'd be interested to see what happens to the 15 years since this movie came out. But the movie overall is really good, and it works because everybody is casted in this so well. Jesse Eisenberg is pitch perfect as Mark Zuckerberg, and I felt like he should have been the one that should have gotten an Oscar for this, and not Colin Firth, but that's a whole other thing altogether when we get to the King's Speech. But Justin Timberlake's pretty good, too. Was it me, or did it remind me a lot of watching Neil Patrick Harris on How I Met Your Mother? Like, he kind of had that Barney Stinson type of vibe to him. I thought at first it was Neil Patrick Harris, but no, I realized that it was Justin Timberlake. And, hey, guy's got some acting chops in here, and he actually is doing more in this than he did in something like a Southland Tales or The Love Guru. But Andrew Garfield, who got casted as Spider-Man because of this, and you can see why. He's great as Eduardo. Second big movie for him this fall after Never Let Me Go. Rooney Mara, you can see why she got picked for the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake, because she worked so well, and got to work with David Fincher again. Brenda Song, a lot of people know her from her Disney Channel years. She was pretty good for the brief bit she was in. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I think the strongest of the supporting cast overall was Rashida Jones, who I thought was going to be misused, but she is really good here playing Mark's lawyer, and the last scene with her and Eisenberg is brilliantly done. Of course, Armie Hammer's really good as the Winklevoss twins in a dual role, and shows the potential that he had as an actor. Everybody in here played their parts very well. Sorkin, I think, did a great job with the script. It won him the Oscar, and he's still one of our great writers out there. And David Fincher, coming off of The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, as well as Seven and Fight Club, the guy has rarely missed, and this is a film where he just knocks it out of the park once again. If there's one problem I have with it, it's a nitpicky thing. It got a little too dark sometimes, and I'm not talking about the film's subject matter. I'm talking about the film itself. The movie just felt like it was way too dark, yet you could barely see anything in the nighttime scenes, and it's just, I had a problem with that with Benjamin Button, too. Parts of that were a little bit too dark for their own good, but it didn't stop my overall enjoyment of the film, much like happened with this film. It's a great movie. The Social Network definitely is one of the year's best films. It shows that David Fincher is on a hot streak right now, and yeah, excellent film. So, with all that said, let's get to the other two movies that had the balls to go up against The Social Network, since that was the big movie everyone was talking about. And that is, of course, Renee Zellweger and Bradley Cooper starring in Case 39. That sums up the movie in general. Not scary whatsoever. And it revolves around a social worker who attempts to protect a little girl from her violent parents, and finds that things are more dangerous than she had expected. You have Renee Zellweger, Bradley Cooper, Jodelle Ferland playing the young girl. Also, Ian McShane is in the movie in general. And yeah, this is a movie that is very much style over substance. This is a film that is pretty cool looking to look at overall, but that's about it in general. But then again, you wouldn't expect anything less from the director of Pandorum, which we all know how great of a movie that was. No, it wasn't, but I don't know, man. Like, you expect so much more, especially with the people involved in it. But then again, keep in mind, this was a film that was shooting all the way back in 2006. This has been sitting on a shelf at Paramount for 4 years. What more do I gotta say? That's pretty much all you gotta say about this one. it's not good. So let's go ahead and end the show on a much more positive note, because really that's all you can say about Case 39 was just that. Here's the remake to Let the Right One In, and that is Let Me In.
Let me in! Let me in!
You knew I had to throw in the Eric Andre clip. I mean, come on. The title is literally Let Me In. Let Me In! Okay. Let Me In. This is, of course, the remake of Let the Right One In, and it stars it features a bully 12-year-old boy played by Cody Smith-McPhee, who, of course, would later go on to star in Year of the Dog and get nominated for an Oscar for that, who befriends and develops a romantic relationship with a child vampire girl played by Chloe Grace Moretz in Los Alamos, New Mexico, during the 1980s. And this is directed and written by Matt Reeves, who gave us Cloverfield. But more importantly, this is the end of a pretty good breakout year for Chloe Moretz. I mean, she had a really strong year where, you know, she basically took off at this point. I mean, Kick-Ass, hey, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, she was one of the few things that was great about that movie. And then you have this film, a movie that is actually one of the better horror remakes out there, because they have a director in Matt Reeves who knows what he's doing. He knows that he doesn't have to make a simple, straightforward adaptation of the original film, and he does a very good job of keeping the plot similar to the original, yet making it more acceptable for a bigger audience. And it really was a very good, solid film, and a film that just works on so many levels. You also have Elias Koteas and also Richard Jenkins in here, and the casting overall is great here. And it helps that you have Hammer Films, which, you know, Hammer Films are usually a company where, I mean, they're known for making fun horror movies in general, and they did a pretty good job of not taking this to an extreme level, not taking this out of the norm of what you expect from a remake of Let the Right One In. I think it does a very good job of staying tried and true to the original, while also making it stand out on its own. I think it's a terrific film, one of the better horror remakes out there. Can't recommend this one enough. Let Me In. Definitely check it out. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And the next time we meet, we'll take a look at 6 more movies on the second weekend of October, including Katherine Heigl starring with Josh Duhamel in a film directed by Greg Berlanti of Gossip Girl and soon to be the co-writer of Green Lantern, Life as We Know It. And we also have Disney's Secretariat starring Diane Lane in the movie that is more well known for a character from a certain late-night show than the actual movie itself. But we'll delve more into that next time around. And Wes Craven is back with a new movie, My Soul to Take, which sounds pretty amazing, but then you realize Wes Craven really has not done a whole lot of noteworthiness in the 2000s, except, of course, for Red Eye and, of course, the Scream movies, but we'll talk about that one as well. We also will talk about Zach Galifianakis as part of an all-star cast in It's Kind of a Funny Story. Robert De Niro and Mila Jovovich star in Stone, and also we have the remake of I Spit on Your Grave. So 6 movies overall to take a look at next time around, and we'll do that next time here on the show. That'll be tomorrow. But with all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. And also don't forget to hit the playlist, and also check out the last episode we did. So whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.